All right, so let me get this straight, Booth.
Yeah.
You usually write out a long, considered piece arguing why a particular aspect of Belgian culture is shit.
Mm.
And tonight, when I'm producing and editing the podcast, you've read some idiot's comments off of a website.
Yeah, but that's from the Daily Telegraph website. And the Telegraph is one of the grand old ladies of Fleet Street, founded in 1855. And we're a podcast mainly about monkeys and Chinese people. And we were founded in 2010 or 11 or possibly 12. None of us can remember. So they can be lazy. So can I. In fact, the Telegraph should be ashamed of themselves because that was like something you'd see on BuzzFeed or Upworthy. And if the Telegraph wants to dumb down and take on the clickbaiters at their own game, they deserve to get done like a dirty Kiwi.
Done like a... Oh, what are you talking about?
You know, done like a dirty Kiwi.
Welcome to another Beardo's True Stories from Australian History. If you're not from Australia or New Zealand, you may not be aware of the fact that these two countries, although geographically close to one another, at one point actually waged war against one another. It was 1822, and at that time the economy of Australia was expanding, primarily due to agricultural production. It was said that Australia flourished on the sheep's back, as much of our early prosperity was due to the wool industry. New Zealand, in contrast, was a poor land, without a sheep in sight, and seething with jealousy at their neighbours' success. With the unofficial sanction of the Kiwi government, a rogue colonel in the New Zealand Armed Forces, David Kaipaipā, led a small raiding party on a nighttime incursion into the coastal New South Wales town of Merimbula and stole 13 sheep, taking them back to New Zealand to breed and populate their islands. Australia was furious at the loss of the valuable animals. The Australian Prime Minister at the time, Harold Shandy, declared war on April the 25th. All of the fighting took place on the island of Tasmania, which had been owned and governed by New Zealand since its discovery. The Kiwi forces were outnumbered and woefully outgunned. The Aussies had muskets and cannons, but the Kiwis had to rely upon traditional Maori hand-to-hand fighting techniques. The courageous Australian soldiers slaughtered the New Zealanders in their hundreds, as they had done so many times before to the Australian Aborigines. In a peace settlement that June, Australia also received Norfolk Island, and the immensely valuable patent for the recipe for pavlova. However, the 13 stolen sheep populated New Zealand's entire landscape in the end, eventually destroying many native species and creating a massive surplus of wool, which drove down prices and completely ruined their fledgling economy by the 1860s. Australia's total annihilation of New Zealand during the war is the origin of the famous Australian phrase, "done like a dirty Kiwi." Thanks, and see you next time for another true story from Australian history.
Oh, done like a dirty Kiwi.
S F J